we have a crisis in the world, tremendous crisis, and also crisis in our consciousness, in us. I see the urgency of change, radical revolution, mutation in the mind. I see it. It is necessary. There is complete quietness of the mind, and that which is silent has vast space. Only then that which is nameless comes into being.
This is Urgency of Change, the Krishnamurti podcast. I am nobody. It's as simple as that. I am nobody. Hello and welcome to episode 121 of Urgency of Change. Season 3 of the Krishnamurti podcast continues with the format of carefully chosen extracts from the archives of the philosopher's talks. Each weekly episode focuses on a theme explored by Krishnamurti, and the aim is to represent his different approaches to these universal topics. This week's theme is Krishnamurti. Upcoming themes are the psyche, measurement, and inattention. This is a podcast from Krishnamurti Foundation Trust. Please visit our website at kfoundation.org, where you can find a growing collection of in-depth articles on Krishnamurti's teachings, along with key topics and a wide selection of quotes. Our online store stocks all available Krishnamurti books and ships worldwide. You can also find our daily quotes and videos on Instagram and Facebook at Krishnamurti Foundation Trust. If you enjoy the podcast, please leave a review where you listen to podcasts. This helps its visibility. This week's episode on Krishnamurti has 7 sections. The first extract is from the first talk in Saanen, 1972, titled, I Know Why I Am Here.
I wonder why you have all come. I think that's a good question to ask you. Whether you have come out of curiosity or you have problems that you want to be solved by someone else, or you are serious, profoundly concerned with the happenings in the world, and being serious, desirous, earnestly to solve these appalling and frightening problems that one has around one. So one must ask oneself, it seems to me, why you are here. Curiosity, wanting your personal problem solved, or seeing the extraordinary things that are going on in the world, the sorrow, the violence, the division of nationalities, political, religious, separative issues. So one must be, it seems to me at least, very clear for oneself why you are all here. I know why I'm here. I want to say something very clearly and very definitely. I have spoken for the last 50 years all over the world, except in Russia and China. And in observing all these years the state of the world, the state of human beings, and their relationship with each other, one sees very clearly that the problem is not only external, but much more deeply inward. And without solving the complex inward issues, merely be concerned with the outward phenomenon has very little significance. And I feel, observing all this, that one must take a totally different action, enter into a totally different dimension, neither belonging to any religion, organized religion, or any country, any politics, totally uncommitted. So that one can look clearly, objectively, sanely at all the phenomenon that is going on around us and within us. That's why I happen to be here. And obviously, one cannot tell why you are here. It may be out of habit. It's a nice place, Saanen, lovely mountains, a holiday, beautiful mountains with snow and, all that. But if you are here, and I hope you are, for serious purpose, then we have a relationship with each other. Otherwise, we have no relationship whatsoever. That's clear, isn't it? If you and I are both serious in understanding this whole phenomenon of existence, not only the outward, but also much more deeply inward, and be totally concerned with the resolution of this problem, then you and I, the speaker and you who listen, have relationship. Then we can move together. Then we can think together. Then we can share together. And sharing, thinking together, investigating together, and therefore creating together is communication. I hope I'm making myself clear. We cannot communicate with each other. If you are interested merely in trying to solve a particular little problem of your own, which we shall deal presently in later on during these talks, or if you are merely curious what that chap has to say from India, with his strange philosophy or exotic nonsense, then I'm afraid you and I will have no communication. Because the speaker is not bringing or talking about any particular system of philosophy. Philosophy implies the understanding of truth in daily life, in daily action, which has nothing whatsoever to do with Christianity, with Buddhism, with Hinduism, or any country.
The second extract is from Krishnamurti's second talk in Ojai, 1981, titled, I Am Not a Teacher.
Please, I would like to point out, this is not an entertainment. Intellectual, romantic, emotional, or sensational. We are rather serious, and if you are at all serious too, we can explore together into the nature of this crisis. It's not a crisis somewhere else, it is in our minds, in each one of our minds, in our hearts, in our relationship with each other. And the crisis, as we said, is in our consciousness. This consciousness is common to all mankind. Wherever you go, man is suffering, uncertain, insecure, lonely, neurotic, depressed, elated, chasing one fad after another, especially in this part of the world. And this crisis is brought about by thought. Thought has put together the content of our consciousness. Please, if I may again point out very clearly that we are not explaining, we are observing together. The speaker is not a teacher. There is no teacher except in mathematics. Or if you want to be a good carpenter. But in the world of psychology, there is no teacher. And there is no disciple. There is no leader or a follower. We are together observing the nature of man. What has happened to him? Why we are like as we are now. Violent, neurotic, lonely, terribly uncertain, confused. And to this confusion, the philosophers are adding to it. The religious people are adding to it. The evangelists, the scholars, and so on. So we are learning or observing our own state of mind. That's where real education begins. Self-education. We are learned so much from others about ourselves. We're always looking for others to lead us, not only outwardly, but especially in the psychological realm, inwardly. There is any trouble, any disturbance, we immediately go after somebody who will help us to clear it away. We are addicted to institutions. We are addicted to organizations, hoping that they will settle our problems, help us to clarify our own minds. So we're always depending on somebody. And dependence will inevitably bring about corruption. So here, we are not depending on anybody, including on the speaker, especially on the speaker. Because there is no intention to persuade you to think in a particular direction, to stimulate you by fanciful words and theories, but rather to observe what is actually going on in the world and all the confusion within.
The third extract is from an interview by Roy Tuckman in Ojai, 1983.
I was wondering, I'm sure a lot of people are, what your daily life is. You get up in the afternoon. What do you do on a normal day?
What do I do? I get up round 5:30, get ready and do some sort of yoga, which some of the top yoga teachers in India showed me some of them. So I do that for an hour.
This would be hatha yoga exercise?
No, it's not. It's called probably it's not quite hatha yoga. It's some form of yoga. And then breakfast. And then I write or dictate, not letters, or I'm writing now something or other. And then breakfast, write some more. And then bath, lunch, rest, and see a lot of people. A group of people all the time, like that. That's my day. And it's the same in England, same in India.
And you travel, every year you visit these schools.
In India, not only schools, I go to Delhi, talk to all, I talk all over India. Delhi, Benares. Then last year, I talked in Calcutta. Then Madras and so on. Then I go back to England. And then I come here.
You've been talking for maybe 70 years now?
60 years.
60 years. And do you ever get tired of talking? Does it seem to be a repetitive ritual to you any time?
What do you mean by ritual?
But you talk against the falling into the trap of doing the same thing, the same life plan.
No, this is not a trap. I've stopped talking. I've stopped traveling.
You have
I have. So I'm always careful that it doesn't become a habit, a routine, or something that has to be done over and over again.
Well, it's something you enjoy doing. Then.
No, I wouldn't call it enjoy. It's something that it's like, should we put it? Perhaps it is the you do what you think is right, without any feeling of getting some kind of reward or self-fulfillment, all that nonsense.
So
Because it's like a teacher who loves teaching. Whether people listen, don't listen. Whether they understand, don't understand. It's the thing that you're doing, you love to do. It's not a rewarding or a self-fulfillment, which will be terrible.
what do you get your self-fulfillment from? Or is it
No, it's not self-fulfillment.
But the speaking isn't. But is there something that gives you self-fulfillment, or do you reject the concept?
I reject that totally, that concept that you derive fulfillment from talking or painting, or I think self-fulfillment is like what? You desire something and get it. You fulfill. You have urges and you fulfill those urges. You want to be a rich man and you strive to be rich. But it isn't at all like that. It isn't. It is a thing on the contrary. The denial of the self, not self-fulfillment. This is rather complicated, because everyone wants to be somebody, right?
Almost everybody.
Almost, not almost. You can say practically everyone wants to be somebody, follow somebody, be known, all that kind of business. I'm afraid I don't belong to that category.
So it is not everybody, but almost everybody. But you already are somebody. You were brought up to be, from an early age, you were brought up to be somebody very special, and you were given very special treatment and very special attention, and prepared for the role of Messiah, which you rejected.
No, I think that, no, you see, the word Messiah was given in America, really. There was the whole idea, you see, that when they adopted my brother and myself, there was this feeling that when they found this boy, that one day you'll be a great teacher. And I was educated abroad in England and France and Italy. But we had a very big organization of which I was the head, and with castles and enormous pieces of land all over the place, lands all over the place. I returned them all, and I said, this is to be a really religious person. Property is not important. Money isn't important.
I have a good friend who said about you that Krishnamurti has given away what most gurus would give their left chakra to get.
The fourth extract is from the third question and answer meeting in Saanen 1983, titled Krishnamurti's Experiences.
From what we read, you have had strange and mysterious experiences. Is this Kundalini or something greater? And we read that you consider so-called process you have undergone to be something sort of expansion of consciousness. Could it be instead self-induced, psychosomatic thing caused by tension? Is not case consciousness put together by thought and words? Somebody is interested in this, so I must answer it. You are interested in this? Sikoro. Of course. It's much more exciting than desire. I wish we would be simple about all this. Kay apparently has had various experiences. They may be psychosomatic, induced by tension, or pleasurable projection of his own desires, and so on. In India, the word Kundalini has a great meaning. They have written books about it, and several claim they have awakened that sky. I won't go into it all. Don't be mesmerized by this word. A kind of release of energy, so that energy is inexhaustible. That's the meaning of that word. But it has other meanings and different types of. Just the fact is to awaken the energy and to let it function completely. And so-called process may also be imagination, and so on. Do all these things matter? One is able to read other people's thoughts. They are experimenting with that in Russia. Andropov can read Mr. Reagan's thought. Or Mr. Reagan can read Mr. Andropov's thought. Then game is over. And if you can read my thoughts and I can read your thoughts, then life becomes terribly complex and rather tiresome. They have experimented this in Duke University in America. They have proved telepathy exists, that thought can control matter, and so on. This is the old Indian tradition. Perhaps Kay has done some of these things, but is this all important? It's like having a good bath, right? After a hot day, having a good, clean, healthy bath with clean towel and good soap. But at the end of it, you're clean. What matters is that you are clean, right? It put all this at that level. You understand? Don't give all this importance. It's not important. Kay has been through all this. He knows a great deal about all this. Don't wake up suddenly. But he treats all this as not necessary. There's the energy which is being misused by us, right? In fights, in quarrels, in pretensions, trying to say mine is better than yours, right? I have reached this platform, and so on. That is far more important to inquire why human beings behave as they do now. Not all this triviality. This is triviality. We have discussed this matter with all the people, some of the people, who claim all this awakening. You know, you have a little experience, and then you set up shop. You understand? You know what that means, setting up shop? Oh, I have a little experience of this kind, and then I become a guru. I'm in business then. I have disciples, I tell them what to do, I have money, I sit in a posture, and I'm very, you follow? All that tummy rot. So one has to be terribly careful of one's own little experiences. Right? But what is important, really important, is to find out sanely, rationally, logically, how you waste your energy by conflict, by quarrels, by, you follow? Fear and pretensions. When all that energy which is being wasted is not wasted, you have all the energy in the world. As long as your brain is not deteriorating through conflict, through ambition, through strife, fighting loneliness, depression, and all the rest of it which you have gone into. When the brain is free of all that, you have abundant energy. But if you release some kind of little energy, then you do an infinite harm to others. Right? Is this question answered? Can we go on to the next? So please don't fall into the trap of those gurus who say, I know, you don't know, I will tell you. There are various centers in America, and probably in Europe and India, where one or two people are saying, I have awakened this peculiar stuff, and I'll tell you all about it. I'll teach you. You know the good old game. It all becomes so trivial. When man is fighting man, the world is degenerating, disintegrating, you're talking about footling little experience. And also the questioner says, is not case consciousness put together by thought? As every consciousness with its content is the result of the movement of thought, right? Your consciousness with its content of fear, belief, loneliness, anxiety, sorrow, of following somebody, having faith, saying my country is more highest culture and all that business, is part of your consciousness. It's what you are. Right? If you are free of that, then you are in a totally different dimension. It's not expansion of consciousness. It is the denying of the content of consciousness. Right? Not expanding, becoming more and more self-centered.
The fifth extract is from the second question and answer meeting in Madras, 1981, titled, Has Krishnamurti Performed Miracles?
What is your stand with regard to miracles? We are told even you performed what you would normally be called miracles. Do you deny this fact? How do you know the speaker has performed miracles? How do you know? Somebody told you about it? Naturally. And is it very important? In the Christian world, miracles are very important, right? Jesus is supposed to have performed many miracles, and that has become one of the factors. Is it very important to perform miracles? That is to change something, right? Out of nothing. To cure somebody without medicine, without surgery, without going through all that misery. To heal somebody. Which is more important? To heal physically somebody or heal psychologically. You are not interested in all that. You are interested only in miracles that will give you more money. So, you see how sad all this is? How childish all this is? Isn't it very sad what human beings have reduced themselves to be so easily satisfied by obviously you can produce miracles. What? What's important about it? The speaker has probably healed somebody. All right. Physically. All right, what? Doctor heals somebody. They do. Surgeons heal people, right? You don't give them importance. But a man who does something without medicine, without this and without that, that's a miracle, and you're astonished and worship that person. You find it's all becoming so childish, immature. So one asks, not what is the fact, but why have become so childish about all these matters? You understand, sir? You understand? The world is going to pieces. You understand? This country, there is such degeneration. You are degenerating. You understand? You're corrupt, you're making things ugly in life. To change, that is the miracle. Not some silly person doing some kind of tricks. This is the greatest miracle that can happen to a human being, to completely change and flower into something extraordinary. That's possible. But you're not interested in it. You want somebody to do everything for you. Nobody is going to help you psychologically.
The sixth extract is from the first question and answer meeting in Ojai, 1984, titled, "Have you designated somebody to carry on your teachings?"
Have you designated a special teacher or person to carry on your teachings after you're gone? Where? Someone is claiming this position. I wonder why he's claiming this position. I know this is happening. I know the various people that are doing this kind of rubbish. But what are they claiming? Why do they want to follow somebody, after somebody? K is going to die. Speaker is going to die, that's certain. As all of us are going to die. That's one absolute, irrevocable fact, whether you like it or not. And fortunately or unfortunately, he has said many things, written some books, and become somewhat, may I use the word notorious, not as a criminal, but some kind of freak or religious teacher, another freak, or some kind of biological exception. And because of that, a sense of reputation in the world, which is so ugly, and it has no meaning, reputation. Someone wants or feels or thinks himself is going to carry on casework. Why? Probably should be very profitable, both financially, and then you can say, well, I can collect a lot of silly people. This is happening in the world. In the church, the apostolic succession, handed down. There have been two in India in a different way. So we all love authority. We all want to follow someone who says, I know. And we are all so gullible. We never say, look, I just want to live. I want to find out what you say, what you are, not what you represent or your symbol and all the rest of that, what you are. And you begin to doubt, question what you are. And you soon discover it's nothing very much. So, K is saying, the speaker is saying, he has designated no one, no teacher or anyone to represent after he's gone to England. Which is going next week. It's all rather silly, isn't it?
The final extract in this episode is from the third question and answer meeting in Saanen, 1981, titled, Who Are You?
Who are you? Is that an important question? Or would you say, who am I? Not who you are, who am I? And if I tell you who I am, what does it matter? It shall be out of curiosity, isn't it? It's like reading a menu at the window. You have to go into the restaurant and eat food. But merely standing outside and reading the menu won't satisfy your hunger. So, to tell you who I am is really quite meaningless. First of all, I'm nobody. Right? That's all. It's very simple as that. I'm nobody. But what is important is who you are. What am I? What are you? When they ask who you are, in that question is implied, you are somebody very great, therefore I'm going to imitate you. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you brush your teeth or whatever it is. I'm going to imitate you. Which is part of our pattern, you understand? There is the hero, or the man who is enlightened, or the guru, say, I'm going to copy everything you do. Which becomes so absurdly silly, you understand? Childish to imitate somebody. And are we not the result of a lot of imitations? The religions have said, they don't use the word imitate, but give yourself over, surrender yourself, follow me, I am this, I am that, worship, right? All this is what you are. In school you imitate. Please. Acquiring knowledge is a form of imitation. And of course there is the fashion, short dress, long hair, short hair, beard, no beard. Imitate, imitate, imitate. And also we imitate inwardly. So we all know that. But to find out who you are, not who the speaker is far more important. And to find out who you are, you have to inquire. You are the story of mankind, which is really a very if you really see that, it gives you tremendous vitality, energy, beauty, love. Because it is no longer a small entity struggling in the corner of the earth. You're part of this whole humanity. It has a tremendous responsibility, vitality, beauty, love. But most of us won't see this. But whereas we are most of us concerned with ourselves, with our particular little problem, particular little sorrow, and so on. And to step out of that narrow circle seems almost impossible. Because we are so conditioned, so programmed like the computers, that we cannot learn something new. The computer can, but we can't. See the tragedy of it. The machine that we have created, the computer, can learn much faster, infinitely more than I can, than the brain can. And the brain, which has invented that has become ultra-intelligent machine. Right? Whereas our brain is sluggish, slow, dull, because we have conformed, we have obeyed, we have followed. There is the guru, there is the priest, there is the rich. You follow? And when you do revolt, as the revolutionaries and the terrorists do, it is still very superficial. Changing the pattern of politics, of so-called society. Society is merely the relationship between people. And we are talking of a revolution, not physical, but the psychological revolution in which there is no, at the depth, conformity. You may put on trousers because you're in this country, and you put on in India's different clothes. That's not conformity. That's nothing childish. But inwardly, not a feeling of conformity. Conformity exists when there is comparison. For a mind to be totally free from comparison. That is, to learn, to observe the whole history which is embedded in you